friends, I'm Akash, and this is your News of the Week for the week of May 1st to May 7th, 2022. I'm Akash Cody, and let's begin with our head story. Are abortion laws in the United States going to change? Well, it seems that the answer is yes. On Monday, May 2nd, 2022, the news source Politico managed to obtain and publish leaked documents from the Supreme Court of the United States showing that they were planning to overturn the Roe v. Wade case ruling. And well, this is a very interesting and quite important story to take a look at. So first, we have to understand how this happened, the backstory. What is Roe v. Wade? So Roe v. Wade was a 1973 Supreme Court of the United States landmark decision, which basically affirmed a pregnant woman's right to have an abortion without much restriction from the government. And this was in 1973, and before that, the issue was kind of, it was very much a hot topic, you can say. And even today, this whole situation has sparked a fuel of ongoing debate about whether abortion should be legal or not, to what extent it should be legal, and who can authorize an abortion, who decides whether it's legal, and so on and so forth. This type of discussion is pretty important given the state of how things are. And as of now, there are still pretty much federal and state laws, primarily state laws, where each state can basically decide on their own for the most part, although they should be trying to get it under the terms of Roe v. Wade. And that's why most states in America say yes to abortion. But very recently, Texas decided no. And in 2018, we had Mississippi introduce the Gestational Age Act, which basically prohibited abortions after the 15 weeks of pregnancy. So this is what came out for the Gestational Age Act in 2018 for Mississippi. And after he signed this bill into Mississippi law, the governor of the state, Phil Bryant, said, "I am committed to making Mississippi the safest place in America for unborn children." And again, saying that we'll probably be sued here in about half an hour, and that'll be fine by me. This is a case worth fighting over. Well, it wasn't 30 minutes, but within a day, 24 hours, Mississippi's only abortion clinic, the Jackson Women's Health Organization, sued the state of Mississippi, saying that this bill was unconstitutional. In June of 2020, the case was brought to the bench of the Supreme Court of the United States. And, well, at this time, it was basically more or less going to be that around this summer, the Supreme Court was going to finally reveal its decision and announce what would happen with this case. But on May 2nd, 2022, by some reasoning, Politico managed to reveal the draft judgment of the Supreme Court, showing that the court was planning to overturn Roe v. Wade in favor of the state of Mississippi. And this caused a lot of outcry from women's rights activists who said, well, now it's abortion, next it's going to be contraception, next it's going to be same-sex marriages, and who knows what other individual freedoms and liberties will be taken away next. But on the other side, there's millions of Americans who support this bill too, and both of these sides are actively demonstrating. This is what's been going on with the Roe v. Wade and the future of abortion laws in America. So let's take a look at the next story of the week, which we talk about the current situation in Ukraine. So mostly right now, one of the big things happening this week was the situation in the city of Mariupol, facing a lot of heavy attacks from Russian forces. And as of now, Russia has almost completed this invasion of Mariupol. The only place left is the Azovstal steel plant. This is the only location in the entire city currently under Ukrainian control, and that control is firm. The Ukrainian government announced that all women, children, and elders have been evacuated from the area, and all that's left are the men and the forces that are helping to save Azovstal from the Russian forces. And as we speak, the current situation is just getting worse, and this is even more exacerbated by the fact that May 9th is going to be the 77th anniversary of Victory Day for Russia, the day that Germany finally was defeated by the USSR. And Russia and many other countries celebrate this, of course. It makes sense. But given Russia is currently in the middle of a war, it seems as if, and this is something that the mayor of Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine, and many other leaders and experts are saying, that Russia may take that day to officially declare war against Ukraine. Until now, they've just been calling it a sort of intervention, or, the kind of going light on the usage of words in relation to the invasion. But should the country declare war officially, then it might just basically, Putin may as well allow himself to escalate the war even further. And this makes sense because, for the most part, when it comes to the offensive in the north, Russia is losing rapidly. Most of their progress has been in the southeast. When it comes to the west of Ukraine, things are mostly not that good. I mean, it's mostly because Russia has been firing missiles. They fired cruise missiles this week at the city of Odessa, which is actually Ukraine's third largest city. And as a result of what has happened here, they have to try and defend themselves. And because this is in the West, Russia can't just go there and physically go for the attack with their armed forces on the ground. So instead, they resort to missile strikes. That's what they've been doing in Lviv until recently. Now, they're doing it in Odessa. And it seems they're probably going to be doing this for quite a few other cities in Ukraine. So this is what's been going on with the situation in Ukraine. The refugee crisis keeps growing larger and larger as evacuations continue to take place. The situation is absolutely devastating, and we can only hope that the situation comes a lot better. So now we're going to take a look at our final story of the week, which is an update on coronavirus. And, cases, they're ticking up again. 516,000 cases worldwide, roughly 69,000 of which are from the United States. And when it comes to deaths, roughly 2,000 worldwide and only 600 in the United States. Definitely an uptick from the previous weeks, but it's expected that these are going to slowly tick down. Now, the main thing that's been going on right now in relation to the coronavirus is the update on China, whose coronavirus situation is just not that good. They've been upticking for weeks now, and currently they're at roughly 18,000 cases per day. And while the death toll is very low, and that signifies a good effort, China's cases are still high, and they've been doing everything they can to try and enforce their zero COVID policy and save China from the devastation that is COVID-19. So that's what's been going on in China, and they've just been keep trying and trying and trying. With many lockdowns and other restrictions, you have to confirm, you have to be tested before you go out into the public or go on transportation like the metro and things like this, which makes sense for China's current situation and what they plan to do. So all we can do right now is hope that China's situation recovers as fast as possible. Now, when it comes to other information, we're seeing cases in the US, India, and other countries tick up slightly as well. But the main catalyst for the current rise in cases is China. Now, we have one major point to go on with the coronavirus, and that is that the U.S. Food and Drug Administration announced recently that the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine will officially be restricted to only those 18 or older who cannot or refuse to get the other two vaccines, any one of those. So the main three for quite some time now have been Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson. And Pfizer and Moderna, they've been doing relatively well. Moderna was slightly marred by a few cases of a relatively rare disorder with it, and eventually they said it was okay and that it was basically, you can say, fixed, and it didn't really happen anymore. But there was something that marred Johnson & Johnson's so much more than Moderna ever had, or any other vaccine that we've seen in the COVID-19 times. And that thing is the rare blood clotting disorder that has come out of the J&J vaccines. This is actually officially confirmed. This has happened for the past year or so. And originally they said, well, it isn't all too many, so we think it's fine. And the FDA agreed. But new updates have come out revealing that the total amount of cases is actually 60, which was 4 times larger than the previous estimates, which were roughly like 15 or something like that. But this right here is not good, like, at all. I mean, 60 cases that we're seeing. And this, I know it's out of like millions who have gotten it, but if we have this, well, hopefully no one will have died. But yes, people have died. As out of those 60, over 9 have actually passed away, appearing to be because of this. And you may think that this is relatively rare, and yeah, it kind of is. But there have been reports saying out of the 3 large vaccines that are being here in America, Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson, Johnson & Johnson has the most deaths of COVID-19 from those who got infected. And so this is the big thing, because Pfizer and Moderna's efficacy rates are pretty high. Johnson & Johnson's not so much. And that's why even those who have had the Johnson & Johnson vaccine are still succumbing to COVID-19. This complied with that blood clotting disorder ultimately led to the decision the FDA made to restrict the Johnson & Johnson vaccine to those 18 or older who cannot refuse to get either of the other 2 vaccines, Pfizer and Moderna. And that is all of your news of the week for the week of May 1st to May 7th, 2022. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon in another News of the Week. Goodbye.